Okay, here's the second video where we're going through the answers to this quiz that we're doing, the you know, general power systems information quiz. And again, we're just going through this to sort of give ourselves an understanding of what we don't know. And hopefully you're getting some insight into some maybe preconceived notions that you had about energy generation, transmission, distribution, what's new, what's coming on, what's going on now. So let's pick up, let's see, the last one we did there was number 15. So let's pick up with 16. So if space cooling is the highest use of residential electricity in the US, what is the second highest? We would find out that the second highest user of electricity in the United States comes from lighting. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 17 says, how many power plants in the US are greater than a megawatt? Now remember when we were looking at that with number 6, how many power plants in the world are there with greater than 1 megawatt? And I didn't write an answer down on that sheet there, but I think I told you the answer approximately 62,500. If I didn't, sorry about that. But in the United States, how many power plants greater than 1 megawatt exist in the United States? Approximately, and again, this can change, this is current as of last year or this year earlier, but approximately 7,658 power plants in the United States that generate or have the capacity to produce a megawatt of power. And then again, we were sort of looking at, being able to supply 650 homes 1 megawatt, just to give us a sort of feel for that. And then while we're here, if you look at somewhere like McGuire Nuclear, they have 2 functioning nuclear reactors there, Duke Energy's McGuire, and they are at about, let's see, I think it's 1,200 megawatts each. Okay, so if you look at that, you multiply 650 by that, you're looking at a big number. We might also see that written as 1.2 gigawatts. Okay, number 18, which country has the most nuclear generation capacity? And the answer to that is this country that you're in, the USA. And even though, there's a lot of discussion, and we're going to go into all parts of that discussion when we get to that in our course. But right now, the US has the most nuclear generation capacity. The second most, that has the second most capacity, might be surprising to you. It's France. Okay. How many nuclear plants are in operation in the United States? There's actually 57 total. And I think, and we'll look at this into some detail later, the nuclear percentage, it's somewhere between 20 and 25% of our total electricity. But anyway, to get that from 57 plants is pretty amazing. It just tells you the size of a nuclear plant, the capacity that they have. In terms of how many reactors are in operation at these 57 plants, well, I think the most current says that there are 95 reactors total operating in the United States. How many nuclear reactors are currently under construction in the United States? From what I can tell, there are 2. All right, so there's a whole different discussion that we can have is when we get into this. Um, you know, we'll talk about some things, and you know, we're not taking stands and we're not taking positions, but we want to approach it as technical people, and you know, we want to, you know, let's talk about what's the trade-off. Nuclear is very beneficial in terms of its carbon footprint. But at the same time, what do we deal with? Nuclear waste, okay? And then there's these instances that have happened, 1986 Chernobyl and all that sort of thing. So, you know, we're going to talk about that, and we can't in this class talk about this stuff without bringing some politics into the discussion. It's just the nature of this. And, you know, we'll talk about, you know, national energy policy in different countries. And do we even have one in our country? So a lot of good, interesting stuff there. We're going to make the most of it. Those topics lend themselves really well to in-person lecture, but we're going to have that discussion. How many nuclear reactors are currently under construction in China? Well, as I can tell right now, there are 11 under construction. Now, some interesting fact, when I was trying to get this updated, India has planned 21 additional reactors by 2031. And while I'm at it, you know, if we talk about the country with nuclear generation capacity, we said the USA was first, and then we said it was France, but we didn't say what's third, and third is China, and fourth is Japan, and fifth is South Korea. And let's see, I just had my cat Saki check in. South Korea. India is next. Canada, the Ukraine, formerly part of the Soviet Union, the Ukraine. Okay, and then next is the UK. Okay, so, you know, England and Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the United Kingdom. And so that's the ranking of other countries. I think, you know, I think that's really interesting. Think about, you know, now it's 2020 and India has plans for 21 additional reactors in the next 11 years. That's a lot of construction. Okay, let's move on to some other areas. During some months during 2017, wind accounted for, this is true, false, wind accounted for more than 50% of in-state electricity generation in Iowa and Kansas. Okay, that is a true thing. Wind is big in certain parts of the country. Not so big here, but in other areas, the wind profile is amazing. And, you know, if you're talking about 50% of all the electricity generation coming from wind, you know, that's you know, a big deal. And again, this isn't something that's going away, it's coming in. And we're only going to see that grow as we get better with wind generation. And we also see prices come into making them more competitive. Number 26, how many states get 10% or greater of their total generated electricity from the wind? There are 11 of those. 11 of those. And the top 5, number 27, the top 5 are Iowa, in terms of their percentage of total electricity from wind. Iowa, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, and the last one is North Dakota. So these are the top 5 in terms of percentage of total electricity generation for wind. And we will, when we get to that segment in the course, we'll actually look at a map of the United States that they call a wind profile. And they actually map the winds, and that's where they place these wind generators, wind turbines. And we'll talk a lot about that as we go forward. Okay, number 28, name the top 5 states. Name the top 5 states in order for solar capacity. And I don't know what this was. This is supposed to be 2018 or 19. I'm not sure. But the top 5 states are California. And you're not maybe going to believe this, but number 2 is North Carolina. Number 3 is Arizona. Number 4 is Nevada. And number 5, or E, is Georgia, of all places. Okay. All right. So these sort of seem a little out of place with this, and this, doesn't it? But we'll talk about why that is. Duke Energy has committed to partnerships with installers of solar power. And I mean, they're really dedicated to that. And so what they have is a series of companies that go out here and they build these solar fields, and we'll look at those and where are they and so forth and so on. Actually, in the next series of videos that we're going to do, where we're going to explore a website that we will be referencing for the rest of the semester, the Energy Information Association. Okay, so we're going to look at that next. Okay, so cool. That's it for the quiz. Just want you to go through that and let it serve as kind of our introduction to, you know, some things that we're going to do. And I hope it's I hope you find that kind of stuff a little more interesting, maybe in some of the things that you've been doing with the Bloom text, where you're just looking at what we call traditional generation, transmission, and distribution. All right, I'll stop it there and we'll get ready for the next thing.